In this video, I'm going to quickly walk you through part D of the web design project. So part D, all it is creating a very simple HTML file. It does not need to be themed. It does not need to have any CSS rules. You can if you would like it to be, but you don't have to. So this file is simply going to be the file that will link to all of your other files. So in this project, you're going to need to link to part A, part B, part C, and also to the programming project, which you're going to upload to the server as well. So on StackCT, there are some blank HTML files, and so all I've done is I've downloaded the index.html file, and I've opened it up here in a text editor. And if we run this file in Chrome, you'll see that, well, it's really nothing. There's no content here. There's nothing that's been put in between the body. We can update the title. Update the title and refresh that if we would like. And now we have a different title. If you want to have a favicon, you can. It's not required. Nothing is required here except for links that function that point to the other pieces of the project. Now you also do need to put a little bit of information about yourself. So I'm going to put a little header section here. So we'll do an h3 tag, and inside there I'll put personal information, and then I'll put let's just put a paragraph here, and we'll just put my name, another paragraph, section, and since I belong to many sections, I'll just put 99. You put the correct section in there, section for the time slot that you're in, and we'll do put your username in. This is mostly if you are uploading to a different location than your StackState's web space. Some students will use other hosting options, but it's nice to have your username. All right, so that's the nice little section, and we can also put maybe another header here, and we'll call this, links. And now in here, maybe we'll just put in, maybe we'll just make this a nice list. So we'll put in a unordered list. Doesn't have to have any numbers, just bullets. And in our list here, if we want to look, you can look on W3 Schools. You could just put this in paragraphs or in just an order, as long as there's spaces between and the links work is fine. So here we'll put our first item on our list. And again, you don't have to do all of this formatting, but I think it will look nice. So we'll start out with a programming project. Now, I want to have a link to my programming project. And so within this list item, I'm going to have an anchor tag, which allows us to do hyperlinks. And the hyperlink reference, or the href, will be to my programming project file. Now the programming project file that I've already that I'm going to upload to the server is called elephant example.htm, and yours is going to be called something slightly different. Just make sure that you have the exact right file that you need to include there. And then we need to type in whatever we want the link to say. So we'll say, URL to programming project, and then close our hyperlink out. We can make this a little bit bigger so we don't wrap that text. Let's see what's going on. Now, just to see and test, why don't we refresh the page quickly, and we can see, okay, this page is coming together quickly. We've got a programming project, we've got a link, and does it work? Well, at the moment it doesn't, because we don't have, this file is not in the same folder as my programming project. We'll fix that when it comes time to upload. So then I'm going to put another list item. And in fact, why don't I just copy and paste this while we've got it empty. So there's our list item. So the second piece, I didn't create a part A for this project, but you will want to have a link to your part A. And so if you've got a Wix or Weebly or WordPress or whatever it happens to be site, you're going to want to create a link to that as well and make sure that that's functioning. If you're doing a site like this, so you're going to want to make a hyperlink, and your hyperlink will include something like http:// and then whatever your site is, my awesome Wix site whatever it is, wix.com or whatever the site is. So I'm going to leave that one blank here because I don't have a part A for this one. And we'll also type in the text, so something like URL to part A. We could save this and refresh this, and there's the link there. So the next item we'll put in part B. And you could give this a different name if you wanted to call this your personal page, and this is your business page, and whatever you want to call that is just fine. Now on this page, we'll talk about this when I upload the files. I'm actually going to put all of that in a folder called RB. That's how I've organized it because it's my page on Rootbeer. And so there's the folder name, and then we're going to have the file name. The file name in there is index.html. And I'll show you how that works when we go to upload. And then another list element. And here's where I will put part C. Now, as it turns out, I made a bunch of different videos for part C, and so what I'm going to do here is pause the video really quickly, and I'm just going to add links to the various different files that I created for part C so that you don't have to hear me typing. Alright, so I've gone in and typed in my various chart C charts. Again, you only have to do one chart with one table all on one page, but I've gone and added in the ones that I did in the other examples so we can see what's going on. We'll save this, refresh it, and so now we've got a bunch of different charts available to us, and we can go and see how this works. So now it's come time that I need to upload this and make sure that everything is working properly. So I'm going to pop open FileZilla. The instructions are on SACCT in the instructions file, but there's a link on the IRT webpage. I'm going to put this ftps://webpages.csus.edu, my username and my password. Make sure that you have enabled your personal web space already. If you haven't, this won't work. Then hit Quick Connect, and so on the left-hand side, here's some of the files that I've got that I'm working on my computer, and here's some of the files that I've already uploaded to the server. Now, as it turns out, I've actually already gone through and created a Rootbeer directory, and the Rootbeer directory, or the RB directory, I've gone through and I've uploaded everything that was in this folder, the Start Bootstrap 3-column portfolio pages file. So all I did was I went through and highlighted everything in there, all of the folders, all of the files in there, and I just hit upload and put that in the RB directory. So we'll need to remember that. Now what I haven't done is I haven't put in all of my new charts in here. And so I'm going to come back here. Here's my basic directory. Here's some old files in here that I've used for other projects. But I'm going to include my chart.js, my Google chart, HiCharts, my MD Bootstrap, and my rgraph. And I'm going to go and upload those. And you'll notice that this takes a second and then uploads those files successfully. And so those are over on the server now that we can go and look at those in just a second. And then the file that I've been working on is this index.html. It's this file right here. I'm going to upload this file. Now you notice I already had an index.htm. I'm actually going to remove that one and delete that one. That was an old one from a file I used to have. So now that that's uploaded, we've got the files all in the root directory, except for we've got some things in the RB directory, that part B files. Let's make sure that see that everything's working. Oh, I've also, I'd already uploaded my elephant example programming project file. So let's see what's going on there. So now we'll need to navigate, go to our browser, and we're going to go to webpages.csus.edu, go ahead and / your username. And then you're going to want to select your index.html file. And that will pop up for us. Hopefully it doesn't have an error. If it does have an error, then you need to make sure that this name is correctly typed. Now, the way that web servers are configured is they're always looking for an index file. And if you don't specify a file in a folder, for example, if I hit delete and then hit enter, it will automatically look for the index file. So this URL and this one is exactly the same thing. It's producing the same file. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on all of these links and see if they're all working. So I'm going to click on my programming project and my part A. My part A actually doesn't do anything because I don't have a part A. But the programming project, that one works well. And then let's check out HiCharts, Chart.js, MD Bootstrap, Google Chart, and rgraph. Again, you don't have to have all of those, but looks like HiCharts is working. Looks like Chart.js is working. MD Bootstrap is working. Google Chart's working. And it looks like rgraph is working. Okay, so everything is working properly there. All right, awesome. Now the last little thing we could do is we can go and check and validate some of these pages. So we can go and check our W3 validator. And there's a few ways we can submit files. We can submit the URL just right here, or URI it's sometimes called. We can upload our file if we had it on our computer, or we can just copy and paste the code from it. So we can, for example, this index file we just created, we can copy and paste this file and see if there's any errors. And it's gone and checked, and it doesn't find any errors, which is great. Now, alternatively, we could just use the URL and instead put the address in here, and it would check that page and have the exact same message. We can also go through and say, okay, well, what about part B? Because that's the one that's really tricky here. Part B is that page. Does that one validate? We can go through this and say, oh my goodness, there is an error. There's a problem here. Now you'll notice that we can ignore the warnings. I'm not going to worry about any of those. But this error is actually caused by our link to a Google Web Font, because this particular character here is not a standard character to use. And so we should really replace it and escape it. So we could do that. It says right here, in fact, the pipe character, this which is one we're using, should be escaped like this. And so we can either fix that error, or I'm actually not going to grade any errors that are caused by code that you're copying and pasting from anyone else, like Google Fonts or YouTube or SoundCloud or any of the things you embed. If the errors are caused by that, you're not required to fix them. However, I think I'm going to fix it really quickly. So let me open up that file, and it should be this index page right here. And if I come down here to this character, I can escape this. And if you're not sure how to escape any of the characters, then you can also just Google which character it is and ask for HTML escape that. And we'll save that. Go back to FileZilla. Open up our directory. Go back to our root beer directory and then re-upload that file. It will ask us, hey, wait a minute, hold on. You're going to overwrite a file. Are you sure you really want to do this? This file is just a little bit smaller, or a little bit larger, a little bit newer, and yeah, sure, I will overwrite that file. It uploads just fine, and we'll go and make sure the file's working. That's great. And now let's recheck this. The validator has now gone through and said, oh, okay, there's a couple warnings here. We could fuss with that and fix it if we would like to, but I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so that's kind of the basics of part D. We're going to create a very simple HTML file, make sure that our hyperlinks are working, upload our files using FileZilla or some other method to the server, and then make sure that everything is working and everything validates. Because what's going to happen is you're going to take, oops, I closed the page. You're going to take this URL, okay, for your index file. the one that points to everything else, that links to everything else. And that, you're going to copy and paste the URL for that and submit that for your project. So you go here, you can submit this as many times as you want. You're just going to paste the URL for that and submit that. What I will do is I will then go to the URL that you paste right here and then start clicking links so I can grade the rest of the project. So this part D isn't actually worth any points, but if you don't have part D in place, then I can't grade any of the other parts of the project. So make sure that this is all working properly. And that's part D.